Anyhow, in this particular book, it starts out with a couple chapters regarding static and dynamic societies, and I found this quite interesting. I mean, first there was a discussion about static societies, and really a discussion about Sparta. And actually, Arjun Kamani has a really good documentary set of videos that kind of go over the book, and I'll put those in the show links as well. But the static societies are very similar to Sparta, and you may have watched the beginning of 300, and they kind of touch at this, even though it's an elaborate movie. They kind of touch at the society of Sparta, where culture is very standardized and culture is extremely traditional. If you try to relay it into Jordan Peterson's concepts of chaos and order, static societies have extreme order. There is a culture, there is a desire to adhere to the culture, and any sort of deviation from the culture is shunned upon and potentially ostracized at times in violent manners. So when we think about Sparta, Spartan sons are promoted very early in their life to become warriors and soldiers, and if they're too weak to live up to those standards, they may die. And I haven't watched 300 in a while, but I remember the beginning of it being pretty visceral in terms of its description of it, and it seems like some of this is relatively historically accurate. So a boy who didn't want to be a soldier for Sparta, didn't want to fight violently, and maybe wanted to think differently or become a philosopher king, would have been shunned in that sort of a society. And from a medic perspective and an evolutionary perspective, these kind of individuals would be cast out in society. They wouldn't evolve. They wouldn't be part of the evolving culture, and therefore that society, those static societies, never evolve and never get better. And that's kind of the description of Sparta. Extremely traditional, extremely ordered.